Hello, 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 hello. Yes, I think I'm live. Hello, everybody. Lovely to see you. Oh, goodness. Hello, Jeff and Sue. How are you going? I hope Sue's feeling better. Who haven't I said hello to? Craig, Karen, and Joan. Hello, David and Fiona and Rob and Shell and Andrew, and I don't know if Deb and Luca are there, but hello to everyone in the Vitesse household. G'day, Cotty and John. Oh, John's still not working. Yes, well, hopefully he does join you soon, Cotty, because you might get thirsty and drink all the wine without him. Polly's barking. She's been given her dinner, but Jill and Richard are eating cheese, and she thinks that smells much better. So hopefully she will settle down. I have got cheese, but I do not have beetroot or salad or walnuts. It's been another one of those days. We're getting towards the end of the really busy time with vintage, but it's been a bit crazy. Andrew's making the beetroot salad for. Oh, good. Excellent work, Andrew. I highly recommend it. I had it for dinner the other day and it was yum. And now I've just mucked my hair up and I can never do it on camera because it's opposites. Anyway, blah, blah. Hello, Peter and Karen. Kay is in Wangaratta with Greg, caravanning at Benalla for the weekend. Oh, good. I'm wondering if we've got any of our Queensland friends online tonight, because if they are, and if they're not, please send all our love and concern. It sounds a bit exciting in Brisbane and the surrounds at the moment, but everyone that I've been in contact with has said, oh yeah, category 2, no worries, mate. So hopefully they're right. Michael, hello, how are you? Had some ornery Pinots of late, of course. Fiona, a few in the family are allergic to walnuts and zucchini, so we have fig, goat's cheese and pecan salad. My fig tree is in the wrong place in the garden. It's really struggling to ripen. So I'm glad that your fig tree's going nuts, Fiona. And in fact, Jill is also allergic to walnuts. So I said if she makes the salad, she should sub in the pecans. I think pecans almost better than walnuts in that salad, but yummy. Also, I think that salad brings up a little bit of controversy because I think that the combination of flavours, if you've got the whole salad, you've got the beetroot, you've got the roasted beetroots and the goat's cheese and the nuts, that's all going to be delicious. But I think goat's cheese on its own, which is what I've got a little scraping of Meredith goat's cheese that I'm going to taste with the Pinot, but I think goat's cheese on its own is not going to work that well with Pinot Noir. I think in the combo with the beetroots it will. But anyway, on to that in a little while. What else? Shell's telling us about her favourite karaoke. Excellent. Mostly punk and emo, 90s and 2000 stuff. I lost my voice on Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. Fantastic. Spinach pastries in the Goodman household. That sounds quite nice, actually. I was going to suggest mushroom sausage rolls, but I couldn't find a decent recipe for them and I didn't have the time or the brain space to make one up. So anyway, I think whatever you're eating, this one's going to stand up to it because it's delicious. Robinson Vineyard 22 Pinot Noir. And before you ask, it is officially sold out. Leonie, are you there? I think I've told you guys this story before, and it's wonderful, but Celador fell in love with this wine. Leonie and Liz both fell in love with this wine. I'm putting it in a decanter because we decanted the Robinson Pinot from Rare Hair last week, so I thought it's only fair to treat it in the same way, although I don't think this wine really needs a decant. I just thought it would be a good idea to just be, be samey if we're trying to compare and contrast. Probably makes no difference, but anyway, here we go. Daryl and Sue, hello. Goodness, that was quick, Sue. Well done. It's not far. Sue was here walking dogs just a moment ago. All right, wine in glass, more importantly. So already you can see, for those of us who were here last week, you can't really see you can't see on the screen because I'm dark behind the wine, but the wine is much more translucent and more ruby in colour than the other wine. Quite a light colour, Craig. And the aromatics, I haven't even stuck my nose in it, but I can already smell it because it's all kind of wafting up at me. It's very, very beautiful. Craig got dragged to Green Day the other night. Wasn't confident it was the best. I bet it was. Absolutely. G'day Loans, mushroom pizza, sourdough base, sauteed mushrooms on top. Yum. Delicious. We can't sell any Robinson Pinot Loans because you sold it all. Hello, Jessica. How you going? You made it home. Well done. So Jess is our vintage helper this year, and it's been so busy that tonight's the first night that I've kind of gone, oh, by the way, Jess, here's some Drinks with Kate wine. Join us. So welcome to Drinks with Kate, Jess. Not that you don't see too much of me already during the week here. Pinot Noir in a Pinot Noir glass. What more could we want? Last week, the wine was quite savoury, quite dark, quite structured. And this wine is much paler in colour. It's got a beautiful hue to it, though. It's kind of garnety, ruby red in colour. And it smells absolutely gorgeous. How amazing is that nose, Michael? The nose. We're very pleased with this wine, Michael. The sideways soliloquy is insufficient. I agree. The nose is absolutely beautiful. It's all of the things that people talk. So I think you're absolutely right, Michael. It's all of the things that people talk about Pinot Noir being. It's fragrant. It's got floral lift. It smells like violet and rose petals. It smells like red cherries. It smells like there's strawberries and raspberries in there as well. There are some herbal notes as well that come up more slowly, more sour cherry. Absolutely, Cotty. It's almost like a sour cherry pastry or something like that. And perhaps the goat's cheese will go well with it because sour cherries are nice with goat's cheese. And I think that I'd forgotten how, because I haven't had this wine for a little while because, as I said, we've been sold out of it here for a little while. But I'd forgotten how much of that sort of lovely kind of tangy, acid, sour cherry kind of mouth-watering character this wine has. I haven't even put it in my mouth yet, and my mouth is watering like crazy. And goat's cheese also has sort of a high acid content as well as a softness to it. So they'll either fight or they'll work really well together. So we'll give that a go in a minute. Before that, it is good, isn't it, Kay? Polly shush. That's what I remembered. It's got that lovely sour cherry tanginess to the palate as well. Really fresh, bright, lifted. Certainly, it dances across the tongue. It's got a lightness and an airiness to it that doesn't mean that it's not complex and serious. It's just, I think delicate on the palate, I think, is a good descriptor, Craig. But there's a lot of flavour there. It's just, it treads really lightly. It just kind of floats across. And as it opens up in the glass, I think you'll notice it changing a little bit as well. So I've got a dog on my foot. Hello, Tallulah. Tallulah's sitting on my foot. She's trying to own me because I'm not her person. I think it's a super young wine at the moment, which is, and the thing about the Robinson Pinot, and we've talked about how Robinson Pinot always has a sort of an openness and a readiness to go, I am her person now, Fiona. I'm being owned. Absolutely. She's on one toe though, so because she's only little. So this one always looks fabulous when it's young. I think the 22 particularly has a vibrancy and a lift to it that makes it very appealing. And it meant in cellar door that when Leonie and Liz opened the Robinson and the McIntyre Pinot together, the McIntyre Pinot always kind of faded into the background because this one's got such a strong personality. So hence they tended to open the Robinson more often, and we sold a lot of Robinson at cellar door, and I had to tell them that they'd oversold their allocation, because we did need to send a little bit out into the world via our distributors and via our exporters. So little bits and pieces have gone out, but most of it was sold in cellar door from last June through till about 2 months ago, just before Christmas. It's a wine that is really pretty, really ready to go right now, but it doesn't mean it's not going to age and evolve and change. So we'll see how it does it. We'll see how it does during the evening, this evening. So don't drink it too fast. Have some food, have a chat. It's all good. What's Michael saying? The tanginess acid means that some, like you said, will be amazed by this wine in 40 years. Absolutely. It answers me to the heart. Oh, that's lovely, Michael. It does linger on the tongue and changes, Craig. Absolutely. You can, and I think a lot of people look at the Robinson when it's young and they go, oh, this is a nice wine, but it's a bit more simple than the Moorooduc. And the Moorooduc McIntyre Pinot is more savoury. It's more structured. It takes longer to open up. But this wine has a lot more complexity than people realise, because the complexity is hiding behind that vibrant fruit, which is rather wonderful. Hello, John. Welcome. I'm glad you didn't miss out completely. You can taste that fruit straight away. It jumps out onto your tongue and it races across your tongue, down your throat, and it makes your mouth water. It makes you want to have a nibble of some food, have another sip of wine. It's very much a hungry, thirsty kind of a wine. So I've got 3 different cheeses here. I've got my Meredith Goat's Curd, which is what I had in my beetroot salad the other day. Hello, Jack and Zach. How you going? Yeah, I think the Robinson Pinot is a favourite for quite a few of you out there, and I totally understand why. And I keep kind of saying it and then not saying it, but as I said, it does age very, very well. The fruit will sort of settle down a little bit with a few years age, and the herbal notes will come up. It's not spicy like the McIntyre, but it has these lovely kind of cut herb characters. There's some lavender and there's some rosemary and a little bit of thyme and a little bit of oregano. So, it's got a lot going on. It's just that burst of fruit at the front really kind of gets you going and captures your attention immediately. Fiona, you've got the Meredith on your salad. It's good cheese, isn't it? Craig got a little distant pang of vanilla, a character of its age. Possibly, it doesn't have very much new oak, Craig. I think that it does have a little bit of that. It has a little bit of that. Sort of pastry, like sour cream pastry kind of character to it, which sort of fits in with that slight vanilla character. Anyway, it's got lots of things going on, layers. So let it keep opening up and keep smelling, keep tasting. Linda's having it with duck pate. Excellent. Kay's having it with the most delicious tiger prawns that Greg's cooked. Good on you, Greg. That sounds awesome. Okay, I'm going to try it with my Meredith Goat's cheese. As I said, I think that in the salad you really needed the roast beetroot, and I ran out of time to get that and cook it today. So I'm just on the cheese. But if you've got the beetroot, I think the sweetness and the earthiness of the roast beetroot is really going to bring out the sweetness and the herbal notes in this wine. Okay, hang on. Good cheese. So on its own, I think that the goat's cheese is a little tart for the wine. It's kind of acid fighting acid. It's not really bringing out the best in the wine. It's not dreadful. It's not spoiling the wine completely, but I don't think it's the best wine and food match. But with the beetroot sort of tempering the tanginess of the cheese, I think, and having some pecans or walnuts in there as well would make it really lovely. What's Rob saying? Last week I thought the part whole bunch treatment provided the best of both worlds. Now I think I prefer the purity of this style. Absolutely delicious. It's really interesting, isn't it, Rob? Because last week I was like, wow, that's delicious. And I can see the family resemblance in the vineyard, but it's such a different wine from this. And I thought, I hope that the Robinson doesn't look too sweet fruited or simple in comparison. But I think purity is the perfect word for it. It's not simple. It's got purity. It's got a silky texture. It's got a restraint and a focus that I think is really lovely. I think both wines are delicious, very different wines. I think this would really struggle with that, those Moroccan flavours of the tagine. The tagine would have been too spicy and would have overwhelmed this wine. I think if you went for some just mushrooms on toast or Lowndes mushroom pizza, that kind of thing would work really, really well. Taleggio could work with it, Pete. I like Taleggio with Pinot Gris more. Mushrooms and Taleggio, yep. I like this. So my other two cheeses that I've got, there's a Fermier cheese from L'Artisan, and it's one of those ones that's got the ash in the middle. And I believe that one half of the cheese is made from the morning milk and the other half of the cheese is made from the evening milk. So you get slightly different flavours in the top and the bottom part of the cheese. It's quite salty. It's not too hard. It's not too soft. Hello, Nareem. How are you going? The two halves of the cheese are quite different in their flavour. But it's a richer, rounder, nuttier cheese than the goat's cheese, and it's salty as well, which works really well with this. Fiona's saying the fig and Pinot is working really well for you. I can imagine that would be delicious, particularly fig with some goat's cheese and some beetroot. I think that combo of sweet and savoury and earthy and salty, and I think that would be delicious. What else have I missed? Michael, our wines flourish this way. The Northern Hemisphere wines need to rely on a whole bunch for it to have depth. Not necessarily, Michael, but I hear what you're saying. It does have, I think that this vineyard for us has that focus that we don't want to unfocus the wine by including whole bunch in here. But horses for courses, as we saw last week, the rare hair wine was delicious in a completely different way from this wine. Michael went to a few sip knots in early days, and our wine constantly best wines from better, more expensive from the north of the equator, but horses for courses. Yeah, absolutely. Cotty added some lamb fillet as a side to the beetroot salad. That would work very, very well, Cotty. I almost said, let's just go for lamb again tonight because this wine does work very nicely with lamb. So if you do have some in your cellar, if you did buy some from Leone in the last 6 months, then that's unreal. And I think that you should try really hard not to drink it all in the next 6 months. Try and keep some because it'll do really nice things. We do have at the moment in Celador the barbecued butterfly lamb leg. Delicious, Fiona. Hello, Alison. I would drink it at sort of 8 to 10 years, Alison. Yeah, I think that would be, it's delicious right now. So I can't say that I wouldn't drink it now, but I would hope. And people say, when I say this to people, they laugh at me because they think that I'm trying to just scam them into buying more wine. But if you buy a 6-pack or you buy a dozen of wines that you really love, if you've got a decent cellar, then you can drink a bottle once a year, and then you will see how that wine's evolving. And I know a lot of people say to me, well, if I only drink a bottle once a year, there's no way I'm going to remember what it tasted like a year ago. But if you're drinking it like this, talking to friends about the wine while you're drinking it, matching it to good food that works well with it, letting it evolve in the glass, letting it open up, taking the time for it to change and talk to you, listening to what it's got to say to you, you will remember. You will absolutely remember what it tasted like 6 months ago or 12 months ago when you tasted it, because you're having, dare I say, a meaningful interaction with your bottle of wine. It's a really strange thing, but often when we're drinking wine, it's to switch off, and we sort of go, okay, the alcohol, it's got to taste nice, it's got to smell nice, but the alcohol is the thing that helps me relax and switch off, and I don't have to worry about the wine anymore because it's doing its job. Whereas when you get a bottle of wine like this that has so much to say, then I think switching your brain on and thinking about it and just kind of concentrating on the aromas and the flavours and the company around the table, all of those things. I mean, you don't have to be too geeky about it, although I do very much encourage wine geekiness, but being a bit mindful about tasting the wine and thinking about it will give you more enjoyment, I think, every single time. It also, I've found, means that when I do open a bottle of wine that is, that I bought because it's a bit, I'm on a budget and it's a bit cheaper, or it's something that I kind of go, oh, that looks like a nice label, and I think I'll try that, and I open it and it's not really up to standard. It's much harder to have a meaningful interaction with a wine like that, and it really does feel like empty calories and empty alcohol units drinking wine that's not delicious. So I think that the older and wiser I get, the more I think that drinking delicious, when I drink a glass of wine, it has to be delicious, because otherwise it makes you feel a little bit hollow inside. What are people saying? The littles are having some lamb. Excellent. Peter and Karen having cheese snacks. Broke out the goat's cheese with fig paste, which cuts the acid. Great match. Oh, that's a good idea. A bit of fig paste with the goat's cheese would work really well, Peter and Karen. I think that's a great idea. And everyone's getting onto the lamb. See, I think, we've been doing this for long enough that you guys know that this wine is going to work with lamb. And that makes for a really, roast beetroot salad with lamb on the side. What a delicious dinner, particularly on a night like tonight. It's been it was cold this morning. I don't know what it's been like in your part of the world, but I got up this morning and the clouds were all down around the hill, and there was a little bit of precipitation. It was just kind of wet fog rather than rain, and then it just it took ages to warm up, but it's been sort of heavy and sultry and warm this afternoon and not particularly lovely. So a lovely roast vegetable salad and some lamb on the barbecue. What a great summer dinner to have. Michael, do you think bad Pinot is worse than bad Cabernet or Shiraz at the $20 price point? I think that it's easier to find decent Cabernet Merlot or Shiraz, or more often, Michael, a blend of, say, Shiraz Grenache, Shiraz Grenache Mourvedre, Shiraz Grenache Tempranillo, something like that, or a Cabernet blend around at the $20 price point. Those wines are not bad wines. Those wines are really good value for money and very tasty and pleasing. It's almost impossible to grow decent Pinot Noir fruit at a price that allows you to put it out at $20 a bottle or less. So Pinot Noir is very sensitive to being grown in the wrong place, being grown somewhere where you give it too much water to try and increase the crop, or if you have too much crop on the vine. So Pinot Noir is more sensitive to attempts to make a more accessible, less expensive wine than Cabernet or Shiraz is. Cabernet and Shiraz can cope with being treated with a little bit less respect than Pinot Noir, whereas Pinot Noir is a bit of a princess. it needs to be in the right place. It needs to be treated with lots of love and respect. Even, if you overcrop a little bit too much Pinot Noir in a vineyard, then it's really going to show in the wine. And I think most $20 Pinots out there are pretty disappointing because it's just not enough money to pay for the fruit to make wine, which is, Fiona, thank you very much. Fiona said the closest thing you'll get is the Devil Bean Creek Pinot. I recall us all ordering it by the dozen. So that wine, we sell that for, full retail price now is $33 a bottle. We sell it at Cellar Door for $30 a bottle. Those of you who are in the wine club get 15% off if you buy a dozen. We have a new vintage out, the 2024 Devil Bean Creek Pinot that we're going to be tasting in a few weeks' time. The Devil Bean Creek Pinot is a wine that we make fully knowing that we're not going to make very much profit at all from that wine, but we've been making it since the late 1990s, and it's a wine that has a really strong cult following, both in restaurants that have been supporting us for a long time, as well as customers in Cellar Door and online and you guys. So Devil Bean Creek Pinot is definitely a gateway drug. Thank you, Craig. And I think if you put it next to, say, this Robinson Pinot Noir, you can see the difference, but there's a big price difference. The Devil Bean Creek Pinot is half the price, a little bit less than half the price of a bottle of Robinson Pinot. So horses for courses. So yes, the Devil Bean Creek Pinot is back. I'm not sure if it's up on the website yet, but if you want some of the 2024 before we taste it in a couple of weeks, give Leonie a call tomorrow. She'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, we are going to taste it. It's the last wine in this box. So we're up to wine 3. So we'll be tasting that in 3 weeks' time. I'll also be getting box 2 underway fairly quickly too. Now, what are other people saying? Nareem, wine is young, more delicate than the rare hair. I'm generally not a preferrer of 100% whole bunch, but liked that one. We have butterfly chicken for later. It'll be beautiful with chicken as well, Nareem. I think it will be really delicious. So, yeah, Michael, I think there's a difference between $20 wines depending on what the grape variety is. And Pinot Noir really doesn't do well at the $20 price point. There's a few people who are doing it, but it's pretty boring. I say buy a $40 Pinot and drink half as much. How is that wine opening up for you guys now? I'm going to have a little bit. I've also got a little. It's not Brie. Who's that, Tallulah? You guys thought Polly's bark was bad. Tallulah's bark's even worse. Stop it. I'm on air. Ridiculous dogs. I'm not sure who's banging that door, whether it's Peter out there or whether Jeremy's back to do winemaking, or it might be the wind. We've had exciting times with these dogs. They're a bit hepped up because yesterday they nearly caught a duck under the nets. We've got just nets on down at the Shiraz now, and they were running around and the birds were there's holes in the net, so they're all flying out. Craig, buy duck Pinot and go without food. Well, not sure if I totally agree with that sentiment, Craig, but yes, buy duck Pinot and maybe keep the food a bit. Have slow cooked secondary cuts rather than barbecued steak. Yes, so the dogs were running around under the nets and they weren't doing any harm. And then all of a sudden there was a bit of a kerfuffle and this poor little duck came running towards me and I kind of lifted the net up and it got a bit stuck in the net, and Tallulah caught up to it and tried to grab it, and we managed to grab her and I picked the duck up. It was so sweet. I wanted to take it home. I picked the duck up, wild duck. I think it was quite young. It just nestled into me, its little head on my shoulder, nestled into me saying, "Oh, thank goodness that you saved me." And I carried it down to the dam and it jumped out of my arms and swam away. So that was rather lovely. And then today we saved what was it? Was it a Rosella? We saved a Rosella today. It had managed to get itself twisted up in the net. And I grabbed it and Mum said, "Careful, they bite," as it latched onto my finger. So I think it had been there for a little while. It was was feeling a little bit ducks on the menu next week. Good on you, Craig. No, the duck went away. It flew away happily to its friends. And the Rosella today, we managed to, it got itself twisted up. It had its wings caught as well. But Dad held on to it, put a hat over its head, and we untangled it, and it flew away as well. So 2 good deeds in 2 days, I think we're feeling, but the dogs are feeling very disappointed that we didn't let them eat either of the birds. The wine has got its friends in Jill's kitchen. No, Craig, stop it. Craig is on fire, isn't he, Nareem? He's being very naughty. They'll start censoring you again, Craig, if you don't behave yourself. The spice and the herbs are coming up now. And the rose petals are also there, but there's a spiciness. Cody's saying a nose reminiscent of good quality incense, but I can't quite identify the specific scent. For me, I totally agree with you, Cody, and I reckon there's a bit of sandalwood there. It's sort of a slightly woody perfumed nose. Sandalwood. Trying to think what else it could be. Frankincense? Myrrh? I don't know. But it's sort of one of those one of those incenses that smells slightly sweet and slightly bitter at the same time. It's nice though, isn't it? For those of you who are eating, Greg's not a Pinot Noir drinker normally, but he likes this. Good on you, Greg. Good Pinot. I think there's a lot of Pinot out there that's a bit disappointing these days. So I think if you're going to give Pinot a go, then go for something good and go for a producer that you like. A goth wine. A goth wine, is there such a thing? Yes, yes, Craig. This is possible. Rosewood Loans is saying as well. So I've got to say my little it's not brie, but it's a brie-like cheese, and it doesn't really work with the Pinot either. I'm going to go back to my goat's cheese, but anyone who's having roast beetroot, can you tell me if that's working with the wine? Because I hope it is. It should be. There's a goth everything. Absolutely, Cody. Goth wine makes your tongue black. Peter, what's the name of the wine that goth band in huh? What's the band called? Tool. So they're kind of heavy rock, maybe a bit of metal rock. Roasted beetroot to bring out the herbal earthiness of the wine. Thank you, Shell. Up around, I don't think so. I don't think it comes to Australia. But yeah, there's a wine, an American wine made up around Washington, up in what's the region, Dad? My brain's not working properly. Up past Oregon, there's Washington, and there's a lot of because there's a lot of bands who live in the local area. Nareem loves Trent Reznor, lead singer of Tool. There you go. I knew. Well, Maynard. Sorry, Nareem. Peter's saying that Trent Reznor's 9 Inch Nails. You two can duke that out next time you. Fiona's agreeing with you, Peter. We've got all the wisdom in the room when you guys are on. I love them both, Nareem. I think they're great. Willamette. No, Peter and Karen. Maynard James Keenan. Thank you, Peter. Sorry, just shoving cheese in my mouth. So embarrassed. Nareem, don't worry. I didn't know either of those people's names, so you're about 500% ahead of me. And Peter is a bit of a music buff in his spare time, so that's That's pretty funny. Maynard Keener is the winemakers from Tool. He's in Arizona. I've watched a doco on it. Thank you, Craig. And Peter's given us Caduceus Wines is the name of their wine. Craig knows his tools. Exactly. I've tasted, thank you, Alison. I don't feel quite so stupid. Peter, are they health-giving? These wines. Peter and Karen want to know. From Merkin Vineyards. Excellent. Hey, you lot, could you bring me some wine, please? My glass is getting empty. They've taken it away. They usually bring it back, but they don't usually bring it. They didn't today. Thank you, Dad. It's yummy, isn't it? Thank you. It's a shame we don't have any to sell, isn't it? So luckily, we will have 2023 Robinson Pinot to look at in June. Can you see Polly's tail in the corner? In the corner there? That's Polly's tail wagging madly. I'm not sure if I'd buy wine from Merkin Vineyard either, Fiona. It's a bit cheeky. The wine is getting deeper and more complex. And this is what I meant. Shush, Polly. Don't you bark at me. How rude. It has this little kind of this little turn that it takes, and it goes from being all kind of red cherry and pretty to being darker and deeper and more complex. And it takes we've been talking for 36 minutes now, and it's taken all that time. And it's just doing it now. Who's that out there? There is someone out there banging around. I reckon it's probably Jeremy. Polly says there's someone there too. It's either Jeremy or a robber. The cherries are ripening in the glass. Absolutely, Craig. So, I think we've proven over the last 2 weeks that the Robinson Vineyard is a thing of beauty, that the fruit from the Robinson Vineyard makes delicious wine, that you can manipulate flavours in the winery, depending on what you choose to do to the wine. Loans, I agree, pretty but not simple. Jackie wants to tell us that the Manchego is a nice and tasty bite with the wine. It would be perfect, Manchego, or Osso Arati, which is my other favourite semi-hard sheep's milk cheese. Osso Arati's from France, Manchego from Spain, obviously. It's still pretty. If I give you cheese, will you stop barking at me, Polly? It'll just make her bark at me more, won't it, if I give her cheese? Oh, well. So the Robinson Vineyard, this is Richard and Jeremy's translation of this vineyard. Last week it was Jerry's translation of basically the same parcel of fruit, just kind of split. It's really lovely, and I feel really excited that we have the opportunity to look at them together. I'm hoping that maybe later in the year we might be able to get Lindsay from Paringa along, either for one of these tastings or maybe a lunch, and we could get Lindsay and Geraldine and Dad in the room together, and Jeremy as well, to talk about Robinson Vineyard. We should also have Hugh here, I think, because Lindsay McCall makes a Robinson Vineyard Chardonnay and Pinot as well. Has done for a few years, couple of years now, some years. And I think that would be a very cool event to put together. So we're working on that. Haven't got agreement from anyone yet, but we should blind taste them, Craig. That would be interesting as well. So what other news do I have to tell you guys? Well, I'm getting very close to sending you out an email about the pricing of the trip in May, and recommendations. I know that some of you have already booked your flights, so that's very exciting. There'll be absolutely some more information on all of that very soon. So watch this space. We have a new, box 2 will be coming out before we know it, because we've got to get it out to you, and busy times. I'm excited that so many of you are coming to join us on Sunday week for a vintage event, which will be really fun. We were hoping that we might be able to get you out in the vineyard picking grapes, but we've left it too late for that, and the grapes are ripening too fast. So less work, more fun and eating. So I think that'll be nice. Picking, we've got some Shiraz still to pick, Nareem, but we're looking at some of our white wines are fermented to dryness and have been consolidated and put away. So some Pinot Gris, some Chardonnay. We're starting pressing red ferments tomorrow. Tomorrow, Dad? Or Friday? This week anyway. Red ferment pressing. Are we pressing tomorrow? We're pressing tomorrow. So red ferments are starting to press red ferments tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. I know, Jess. Loans is saying there's only 4 spots left for Sunday week, so that'll be awesome. If you're down on the peninsula this weekend for the long weekend, Cotty and John would like a couple of spots. Absolutely, Cotty. Give Leonie a call tomorrow, but we'll pencil you in. And Zach and Jack, look, oh God, Fiona, I was going to say we've oversold, but Fiona and David are already in, so that's good. This weekend we have Pears and Pinots. Is it Sunday, Leonie? Got to find some sensible shoes, Fiona. Yeah, absolutely. Pressing Shiraz. Well, we won't be pressing Shiraz in the first week of March. We're pressing Pinot Noir. So the Shiraz is not yet picked, but we'll pick the Shiraz before the 16th, probably early next week, I'd say. And the Nebbiolo is looking a bit sad because the birds are in under the nets. And while the ducks didn't get much Nebbiolo, there's some other birds that are getting into the Nebbiolo quite seriously. Peter and Karen have got weddings every weekend in the foreseeable future. Excellent. Other dyes are coming. Yes, absolutely. So loans will be at Pears and Pinots in Flinders on this Sunday. So if you're down and around and you feel like going to a little walk around wine tasting in the sunshine, hopefully is it going to be sunny on Sunday, Leonie? I think it is. I think it's going to be hot. So wear a hat, stay hydrated. Pears and Pinots, Leonie will have the Pinot Gris on skins as well as a couple of Pinot Noirs. So that'll be lovely. Down at Flinders, you can jump on the MPVA website and buy a ticket for that. I do think they sell some tickets at the door as well, but I think they're selling pretty quickly. So if you want to go, maybe pre-book. I will be here pressing fruit tomorrow, and I get a day off on Friday, I think, although every other half an hour it's like, oh, maybe you could come in for this on Friday. So I'll be here on Sunday and all next week, and I'll be back here next Thursday, and I can't remember what wine we're doing. I forgot to look, but you guys know. I'm sure someone will tell me in a minute, but if not, I will send out an email on Monday with the wine and the recommendation for matching. It must be a white wine because we've had 3 red wines in a row, so it must be a white wine, a Chardonnay or a Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris on skins, really? Gosh, Pinot Gris on skins next week. Thanks, Jess. Jess is looking at her little letter. Excellent. No, Pinot. What? What vintage? 24. Okay, cool. Excellent. Sounds good. Shell, glad you like the wine. It's been awesome. Emo's not dead. We're all here for you. And one day, maybe in Adelaide, we should go out for karaoke one night. Just leave you with that thought. Okay, guys. Love you all. Take care. See you next week. Cheers. Pinot Gris on skins next week. Hurrah.